Hi, I'm Amit Thakur. Welcome to MMA Talk Hub series. And with me today is Trang Nguyễn, the head of business development for ad business at Momo. Welcome, Trang.
Thank you, Amit.
You were sharing about, the growth of digital landscape globally here in the region as well as in Vietnam, and how consumers have been adopting different platforms, apps, right, from lifestyle to banking to sports to entertainment, right? And that is a journey that is going to go forward in future, right? And more engagement through our phones, through the apps that consumers use. How has your journey been here? And why don't you share more about what you have experienced working with different tech companies in Vietnam?
Thank you, Amit. It's a great time to share about my journey before we go on. I was in the industry for more than 16 years. And I started in media agencies, and then I moved to creative agencies. I jumped a lot. And before now, I was in another company. It's a browsers made in Vietnam. At the beginning, I loved the product. I think I'm a salesperson, so I think I can sell the ads to many agencies like Group and MyShare. But then after that, the development process is a bit slow. And I found out that I may find another product to sell on. And at that time, Momo is recruiting people for ads business. And that's when I decided to jump again.
So that's interesting. What motivates you to make those choices, Chang? And, how do you decide from one tech solution to another? What is the kind of product that you want to work with?
As a salesperson, if I want to sell the product, I have to enjoy using the product. I have to love the product, right? I can tell lie to myself. I can say to myself every day, I love that product, but actually, do I love it really? And when I love the product, I will try my best to sell it, to, make it better every day, to bring benefit to people who are using that product. I will be a lot proud of the product that I'm selling. And when I joined Momo, I love the product. Yeah, I love everything about Momo. I love the people, the environment. And I think that Momo ads is something really benefits to people, to brands, to agency like you guys. And then that's why I stay here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I think I would completely agree with you. I've now spent close to 5 years in Vietnam with Mindshare, and at the center of everything that we do at Mindshare, it's the product, right?
Yeah.
And how these products are created that can benefit our client's business, that can benefit our own business and the larger industry, from a media lens. So moving on from there, now that we know that digital landscape is getting evolved, getting more complex rather, and it is going beyond the regular usage of entertainment purpose, right? And that brings us to the topic today that we're discussing about digital wallets to start with, right? And I want to give a small story that happened with me recently in Vietnam. Is that I was at a medical store and I went to buy some medicines for my son. And I saw this slightly old person who had almost made the purchase and was about to pay, right? And that person was actually struggling a bit to pay through mobile. And the lady at the counter said, why don't you pay cash? But the interesting part was that no, he said, I want to pay through this phone. And after a minute or two, he made sure that the payment was done. And that to me is a very positive sign, because the general nuance is that youth are the people who adopt these habits earlier, right? But actually I can see that in Vietnam, a large pop strata, different age groups, different people in different geographies are actually now moved on to mobile pay or digital pay, right? And of course, connecting back to the background that I come from, which is India, we both have seen the fact that a huge growth in the way number of service providers are there for digital wallets.
Yeah.
Right? So connecting back to Vietnam, we know that, again, this particular aspect of usage of digital wallet has been growing year on year. And, some numbers that I had seen online was 2019, about 2020 was about 19 million people, and 2025 expected to grow more than 55 million plus in Vietnam. That's a huge number of population using digital wallets, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you share more about how you see this whole aspect of digital wallet, e-wallet evolving globally in the region and more so in Vietnam?
That's a nice story. I think that maybe my father, who is 80 years old, maybe the guy's war story, he tried to adapt with, the war. He tried to make payment through Momo, and he's using Momo right now. Yeah. So that's in Vietnam, but also we look first in the global numbers. So over the 60% of the global population will use digital wallet in 2026. So just only 3 years next. Yes, that's a whole wow number, right? And there's hundreds of e-wallet in the world, like especially in India. You also say there's so many e-wallets, right? In Vietnam, actually, we also have several e-wallets. And happy to say that Momo is one of the top e-wallet. And the growth of e-wallet users in Vietnam is a lot more during the context of COVID in 2020. The growth of the whole total e-wallet population growth and also the growth of Momo users happens strongly during the COVID time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And how has been the world? So, you've hit the right point. I wanted to understand that pre-COVID and post-COVID, how do you see the change happening? And what was the scenario of usage of more digital wallets in general before that and after COVID?
So just basically before COVID, people still can go out and then it's easier to pay or to buy product, right? But during COVID, the growth of e-commerce also contribute to the number of people who are using cashless. I say cashless, CAT users, also online payment, and then also e-wallet users also growth during that time because people cannot out of the house. And then also, people get used to vouchers and also promotions that comes from sellers, from also e-wallet, like us, that help people. So the growth is, there's a lot of factors that contribute to that growth, but mostly because of the pandemic COVID, that people cannot get out. And it's easier to pay cashless to get the goods.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. And it's interesting, because this is a direct consumer kind of service. And we also have the entire structured banking system in Vietnam, right? So why don't you share more about how this banking system today and the digital e-wallet together can work and make some convenient purchases that the consumers can do online?
Yeah. Well, most of people have a bank account and they use digital banking. It's something that all of the banks trying to develop strongly, right? With Momo, you can use both the Momo account and also you can use others' bank account. You can mapping a lot, like your credit cards can also appear and you can adjust it in Momo. You can also have your ATM account, everything in Momo. So it's all in one. That's why it's very convenient for users.
Sounds good. So, we spoke about digital wallets, Chang, and there's something else also that's been brewing in Vietnam and of course globally. And I very distinctly remember talking to someone who shared with me that there's a term called super app that was coined by Mike Lazaridis, the founder of BlackBerry. And what it meant was having multiple apps and services or solutions all combined into a single app, and it could actually have benefits given into different aspects, from a game to an entertainment to a lifestyle product or purchasing something. And I must say that, this whole phase has also been evolving at the great pace. We do have super apps available globally in the region and of course in Vietnam, right? How do you see the concept of super apps also evolving for Vietnam?
I think that there's a fun fact that the CEO of Momo, Mr. Bùng, he's also a BlackBerry fan.
Okay.
Yes. And I think that he also a fan of the word super app because he has also shared with us before that if we only focus on payment, the world can never grow big. That's the reason why, yes. Since last year, we also announced ourselves as a super app. We have hundreds of services in our app. Not just only make a payment. You can also buy a ticket, or you can also even play games on that, entertainment. You can also invest with Momo. You also even make a donation with Momo. So everything in the service that really focus on your daily life service of the users. And we want to help people go cashless 100%. And a super app is difficult because there's a lot of technical involvement. And then we're trying every day to become one of the top 10 super apps in Vietnam in the financial service.
And that's a great mission to have, right? Because this is a space that not just consumers who are adopting, so the demand is growing. At the same time, a lot of brands are also leveraging this for their own benefits, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you share more about what are the kind of solutions, services that you have created under the whole digital wallet, e-wallet space for Momo, as well as the fact that it's now evolved into a super app?
Yeah.
And how can consumers benefit from all of these solutions?
Yeah, okay. So at the beginning, Momo is just payment. We focus on payments. Actually, now it's still one of the core. We want to bring a seamless payment experience to our users. Just make you like less than 10 seconds to make a payment, P2P, with people, between people. But beyond that, people have a lot of things they want to do, right? You want to pay for the medicine for your son, and your wife want to go to see the movie or something. So we thinking of creating some kind of activities. We learn and we do survey. We can share the services and product of Momo into several category. The first one is still payment. We focus on that, paying bills, utilities, and even government services. You can use that.
Sure,
The third, yes, the big one. And then come to that is things that people really focus, especially during COVID. And if you stay at home, right, you want to watch Netflix, and you need to pay for that, right? Or subscription to a lot of platform to watch movies or entertainment channels. Then we have performance and entertainment services.
And does that also require you to have a lot of partnerships, that means, at the back end?
Yes. We have a huge number of people that we call sales and business development people who work with those partners and also merchants to maximize the number of services we could provide. And beside the payment, the entertainment, we have financial service. That's where you can pay for your insurance policies. You can make a loan, personal loan. You can also even, invest on that. That's a financial service. Also one of the very big sections that we trying to help people. And last but not least is ads business. We call it marketing and distributions. That's where I am at. Yeah.
Great. And, this brings me to a very interesting point. The fact that you have this plethora of different services on your app and a variety of consumers are using it across the nation, right? What you have today, or what Momo actually is sitting at, is a huge wealth of data, right? And to connect the dots, even at Mindshare and Group M, we have a new team called Group M Nexus, and that's a capability. The building blocks of that capability is based on creating insights and data for our brand, for our clients, right? So I would like to understand more, and the fact that all these services, when consumers use on Momo apps, how do you evangelize it more to give back to these consumers, so to serve them better? Because now you have that understanding. Now you have that data about usage of your app.
Yeah. So because we are fintech, right, technology related, so we at Momo we say that data is key. Now, other people say content is king, and we say data is key. We have a part called 𝐂𝐾 means that you have to define yourself when you're using our map. So we understand correctly, because you have to take a screenshot of your ID. We know that, Trang, she was born in Hanoi. She was nearly 40 years old, and she having some kind of the payment behavior toward that. So we know everything from your real identity to your behavior, and we collect that. We have a team called MBI, in intelligent and understand our users. We collect all of those informations and we create personas of Momo users. So for ads business department like me, we use those data to make sure that we deliver the right ads, the right message to the right people.
That sounds very interesting, and the moment you said you create audience personas, you ring a bell, because from an agency lens, right, what is increasingly becoming complex is how to identify the right audience onto this multiple set of platforms, right? And there are audiences who are using a lot of these platforms. How do you reduce the duplication, and how do you try and reach to them in the right context? And that's where the data that you use at Momo can be a great support to the way we target our audiences, right? Great. So having learned from you that the different sets of services and solutions that you have housed for Momo under the digital wallet and under super apps, right? And it's a great journey that you've had until now in the market. But what is it that will drive you further? What is it that you have as a vision for future from Momo?
Well, before answer your questions, let me share a bit about the beginning of Momo. So maybe not a lot of people knows that Momo start really early. We are now 15 years old, and Momo was born in 2007. And at the beginning, we are not an e-wallet; we are in a mobile wallet. Yeah. And the reason why the founders have the story at the end, the idea of create Momo is because she is the one who travels. She's a businesswoman and she travels a lot, and people around her have mobile phone, and the number of people who have mobile phone is growing rapidly. And she thinks that, okay, why other countries around us, like Philippines or China, they don't use cash anymore. It's a lot convenient. And then people around me also can do something like that. And that's when they have Momo.
That's a great one.
Yeah, that's a great story, right? Because the beginning is to bring benefit to users, to make everything more convenient, easier in your daily life, and a lot faster, right? When you transfer 100 million, it's just 10 seconds. But if you have to count every cash paper, it can take you 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes for business people. That's a lot of money, right? And from that beginning until now, and maybe in the very near future, we still follow that philosophy that Momo is built to bring the benefits to people, Vietnamese people. And we want to contribute to the whole market. And then that's the reason why Momo also work with the government closely to improve everything, improve the payment, transactions.
And how do you see as a product getting evolved basis what you just shared, that you want to give more convenience to consumers, you want to make it faster, you want to make it more reliable. For example, one of the complaints or the concerns rather that we hear from consumers is how secure is it, right? And possibly that will drive a lot of adoption for future. So what are your thoughts on how Momo wants to develop that aspect for that?
Yes. So Momo is a fintech, right? I have to repeat that many times. So we invest in technology, and technology includes security, AI, big data. We want to make sure that people have the secure and they trust in Momo when they use, because that's their money. Financials always linked to securities. So we invest a lot in technology related to security, AI, big data to make sure that your wallet is safe. And then we'll help everything smoother day by day, second by second, actually. And even that I'm looking at ads business, so not really that related to machine learning or AI or big data, but I'm still attend a lot of meeting and then also see the showcase of that team. All of the people in Momo will have sessions to learn how Momo secure the account of users.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So moving a step ahead, you spoke about initially in the session of monetizing this whole aspect, right? And you also shared with me that this is not such an old aspect of your company that has just come into action a few years back, right? So how do you see Momo helping brands grow and their businesses grow? Because that is where the growth for your business in terms of monetizing the whole services will come.
Yeah, at the beginning when I share about my journey, jumping around, right, changing around from agency to agencies. So less than 2 years, Momo hasn't really monetized the inventory that we have. We grow fast and we have a big inventory. But at the beginning, we are more of the tech people. So we use the inventory to do the internal campaign with our brands, with the merchants that we're working with. But lately, in 2020, then the board of directors think that, okay, we can sell a bit of the inventory. We should work with other companies. And
that's good news for brands.
Yes. And then that's the reason why I'm here. And the team that we built the ad business, we will create to sell part of the inventory to agencies like you guys. And we bring benefit to users already, right? So that's the time for the agency, for the partner. That's a partnership time.
Awesome.
Yeah. And with my experience working with agencies, we are now trying to create a lot of campaigns that bring the benefits because we can target the right people with the right message. So we are really happy that to the market right now, people, not a lot of people, but some people, especially agency people, know that, okay, Momo are selling ads right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that's enough for me to talk. Let me ask you some questions.
Sure.
So going through all the information I've shared you about Momo, about the product and the growth, what do you think that agencies, big agencies especially like my share with them, what do you think that Momo can really go with you and create some kind of impact in the campaign that you guys have for brands?
So very interesting question, Chang. And the way we look at things, right, is all revolving around our client's business, right? And the fact that we have a mix of different industries and clients that we manage at Mindshare and at Group M, constantly pushing us to decide and design different solutions and products, which is something that we started our conversation with, right? That the center of everything that we do is based on the product that we create. And the connected part of that is all the products that will be created today or for future have to be led by data, right? And the fact that Momo has such a large consumer base and different aspects of services, engagement from consumer onto your app, onto your platform is a huge wealth of data. And that's where, to me, the combination or the partnership exists, right? To give you an example, the way indirectly, Momo and Mindshare already working together is the fact that in the lower funnel, when we drive businesses for our brands, our clients' brands, the conversion that finally happens, right, is driven largely through digital wallets and such as Momo. So how we drive this partnership to enable those conversions better and drive higher GMVs for our brands and clients. I think that's the key where we have to find the common ground and create those partnerships which will create value for the brands that we manage. And I think that's where the future is.
Yeah. Look for a very successful cooperation between Momo and Mindshare.
Absolutely. And that brings us, towards a more larger point of saying that we have understood of how digital wallets have grown. We have understood what super apps evolution has been, and the fact that a multiple set of services can be accessed through an app such as Momo, right? What it then brings to what a lot of brands and big brands globally and locally are talking about is sustainability. Talking about how we benefit the society at large, right? And while Momo is relatively a younger brand compared to many established ones, but I'm sure you have an agenda there, right? And how you impact the society in general. Why don't you share more about that?
Yeah. So we, in the past, I remember that 10 years ago, I still cut vouchers. I cut out the vouchers on the newspaper and bring that to the store to get 10% discount, right?
The good old days.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so old. But now we have e-voucher. But 5 years ago, e-voucher was, you have to go to a website and you collect it and then you save it into your phone and then you bring it to the store, or you may have to copy the code and then save it somewhere else and then go to the website and apply it, right? But within Momo now, you can collect the vouchers, you can buy the vouchers, and it's in your Momo app. You can use it at the store. You don't have to save it or cut it out. It's all your phone. And then you can use it so easy. So that's one of the things that we think that it can save plans. That's easy to see, right?
Yeah.
And for something that you just said is to contribute. Our super app has something very fun, and I think that it's totally different. That is a donation service, donation platform. We call it heo đất in Việt Nam, and it's piggy bank.
Oh wow!
Yes, and there's a lot of things you can do with that platform. You can donate. We call golden pig. 4,000 steps every day, and then you earn one golden pig, and you can use that golden pig to donate to any cases on Momo. And there is 100 of cases on Momo. The case can be for difficulties case, or it can be for environment cases. So by just helping yourself by moving around, not staying in one thing and having a fat belly like me, but you'll have for 4,000 steps a day, and then you will also contribute to other cases. You do good things, good life and good things. At the beginning, with just only for users, because you know that there's a lot of people who want to do good things, but it's difficult to find those cases. So we are the bridge to drive people to those cases, but that was just the beginning. And now we are going to work with brands, because we know that brands also want to contribute to the society, right? Right now, you can find on Momo as a case that we work with the brands. When you buy that product, you will contribute 1,000 dong to the donation platform. So means that the users purchasing and doing the good things, and the brands selling the product, they also contribute to the society. Right. And we are the bridge to connect every people. Yeah.
Awesome. And lastly, to know any case study that you would want to share of how Momo has actually benefited the brands.
Okay. We have hundreds of cases, even though we are not that long in ads business. But I think that to share today, I think there's one keyword that you may hear since last year is gamification, right?
Absolutely. So
on Momo, we have a lot of games. People spend time on Momo after paying and making a payment. They play games, right? So we understand our users, and we know that they like entertainment activities. So we create game, and that's very interesting that we are famous because of the yearly game Luxy. Every Lunar New Year we have that game, and it's have millions of users that play games in only 2 weeks. Based on the understanding the users, we adapt that for the brand. It's a drink. It's a drink, and in 2 weeks, the game that they create with us on Momo, it gained 700,000 people played.
Wow.
Yeah. There was 15 million missions have been done on Momo to earn the prize, to earn the turn to play games. So people interact really good with that game. And to drive the traffic to the game on Momo, there's a bunch of media outside of Momo and also inside of Momo to drive people into that.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a combination of gamification in the media plan. And we, based on the data is king, right?
Right.
We create a persona of the users that related to the brand. And then we create the game, the gamifications. So the users benefit from time they enjoy the game, and then the prize from the brand that they receive. And also they remember the message the brand want to share with them. That's the drink that you will feel amazing after you use that. And then you can drink with your friends, drink with your families, so that the message that the brand want to deliver. And the brand also share that after that gamification plan, they have a lot of compliments after that from the users.
Nice. And I think this is really a brave example of a super app, right?
Yes.
Because how consumers travel from different services on the same platform,
Yeah.
and you're able to gauge them. You're able
Yeah.
to provide a service like a coupon or a game
Yes.
or some kind of engagement
Yeah.
onto the same platform.
Yeah.
Right.
In that game, normally when you play other games, you have to pay money to play that, right? But now you can do a lot of financial service activities to earn a turn. For example, you transfer money to your friends and you earn a turn. Or you can buy the product at the convenience store to earn a turn. So it's online to offline to offline. So it's a circle of people, and it really creates a new experience for our user also.
Brilliant. And I completely agree with you, Chang. The fact that this whole space joining the dots and joining the consumer journey from online to offline and back to online or to and fro is a great achievement, because that's how consumers live their life today, right? They don't distinguish between the online space and the offline.
Yes.
For them, everything is a way to connect to the world of either purchasing or entertainment or, just generally connecting with friends.
Yeah.
Great. So today was a great session, Chang, talking to you, having learned about the whole fintech digital wallet landscape and the super apps, and what do you bring on the table from a consumer lens, from a brand lens. And of course, we discussed about how agencies are creating the Insights Hub under Group M Nexus, and how we are creating products for future in collaboration with partners like you who hold the wealth of data, right? It has been a wonderful session talking to you. Thank you so much, Chang.
Thank you.
And wish our audiences a happy Media Tech